Here Comes the Guillotine contains offensive language, mature content and adult themes. It is not suitable for a younger audience.
This is a Global Player original podcast.
Hello and welcome to Here Comes the Guillotine. I'm Frankie Boyle and I'm going to be talking to Susie McCabe and Christopher MacArthur Boyd.
I was saying to Frankie, was punished by Instagram this morning.
Oh.
They've taken away my right to have a branded thing because last night I put a story up saying, with a picture of me in here, saying that I'd taken a DJ hostage and I was going to kill him if I didn't have people signing up to my mailing list.
Okay.
Was it a specific DJ?
She didn't mention who it was, but in my head it was Des Clark.
Of course, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I think Clarky would be a good hostage.
Aye.
He would take it well.
Yeah, he's very...
He would do impressions of you.
He would very quickly master your mannerisms.
Yeah, he's such a slick
I
pro.
think explain to someone that that's a compliment. He's saying you'd be a good hostage, this.
You would thrive.
You would?
Yeah.
He'd have good stories as well to kind of keep you stimulated in the hostage situation.
As the hostage taker, I'd always be like, you're working up what I just said there as an anecdote, and you're never in the moment, Des.
You're thinking about TikTok.
Yeah.
You're playing it for the camera. Yeah. A person was telling me the other day about how they have watched all of Grey's Anatomy on TikTok.
What?
Wow.
Yep. Watch films on TikTok, so they'll be watching a film and they'll be like coming into uni and they'll watch a film, then they'll pause it, go about their day, and then they get back in the bus and they go, right, we continue watching my film. They just watch everything off their phone.
Martin Scorsese would hang himself if he had that, I think.
I once watched the whole of the film Emma off a porn site.
Wow.
Somebody just put the whole movie up on a porn site, but they titled it not Emma, but English Slut. It was just the movie.
It's not really what that film is, though, is it? It's a bit weird.
What is Emma? I don't think I've seen it. On
Is
any
it?
site.
Emma is, she's like trying to sort all her friends' love life problems out.
Right.
She needs to sort her love life out, isn't it?
Classic.
A classic porno story.
A classic porno period.
Very, very rarely in a porn does people feel they need to have their love life sorted. You know, they're never like...
Do you think they're in it for the love?
No. A lot of times they're just in it to get stuck in a washing machine or something, my experience. But yeah, they never have a kind of existential crisis.
Stuck in a washing machine?
You know, seen that stuff? The stuck stepmom genre?
I've got to put mute those words.
And you're like,
They're what?
the stuck stepmom genre?
Stuck.
So there'll be like a stepmom try to get right in the back of a washing machine and they'll end up getting stuck, and then stepson comes in, shags her.
Wow. Does it add to it that it's a stepson? Powered in it?
Not to get into not to access the mindset of a pornographer, but I believe it comes from a kind of like, it's kind of like you're not allowed to put incest stuff, like even fake incest stuff. So they're like, it's a stepmom, but really you're supposed to be like, oh, it's the mum, but it's not really my type.
That is weird. What is wrong with people? That's weird.
Yeah, it's like, that's not how washing machines work. Do you know what I mean? Like,
That was not my first thought
right.
about that.
My issue with it is that you never actually have to go inside. There's not enough depth, even in an industrial size washer dryer. There's not enough depth in there to actually get stuck.
So your issue is the fact,
The logistics of it.
thing, but
Yeah.
not the kind of intonation to the incest. You're all right with
That's
that?
an issue as well. I don't think that's good, but
But it's not your first main issue.
no. Sometimes it's just like, oh, she got stuck under the bed or something, and you're like, it's not.
But then they're just pretending to be stuck, and that adds another.
It also reeks of Winnie the Pooh, you know? Like, he was always getting stuck.
Where there was a great kind of unsaid singing Winnie the Pooh, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Obviously. He would have been abused at that point by all the other animals.
Tiger.
Ganton? Yeah, Tiger. There's no way Tiger didn't have a crack.
I cannot believe that we have opened up this episode with Winnie the Pooh being abused and incestual sexual porn films.
Well, that's probably why he wasn't wearing any trousers. He was just wearing that wee red t-shirt for
He
his
had
access.
time. But they're constantly ripping them off him. It wasn't honey either.
It was jars of animal cum. Yeah, probably. 100 Acre Wood, eh?
That's what Eeyore was depressed.
Because he was flaccid.
Just seen too much.
Too many. That owl. Kind of you don't like that owl guy. He was always kind of above it. Yeah.
As owls would be, just watching, swiveling their heads,
It's 180 degrees. As is
not
the want.
trying not to watch the abuse of Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Speaking of horror, we did a gig in Swindon recently.
Okay.
When we arrived at the theatre, a guy was threatening to throw himself off the top of the theatre.
Off the roof?
Yeah.
The Wyvern in Swindon. Yeah.
So, like, he's up there, the cops around him, the area's kind of cordoned off, and, like, we're like, show starts in 2 hours.
I need a sound check, mate.
And then when we talked to the crowd, I mean, it was like, they're a nice bunch, but, I mean, it seems like a terrible place. And you sort of started to see this guy as kind of a visionary. Do you know what I mean? And that maybe he'd been driven mad by the queue to get up there.
And how long did it, like, was he down before you went on stage?
Before it went on, but he was up for a couple of hours, I think. Yeah. But then I started to think, if I was the Swindon town planner, I wouldn't build anything more than one time. It should just be, as Christopher said, a town of cottages.
Yeah, subterranean cottage thing.
I started to think, is that what happened to the hobbits?
Oh.
They were really depressed and suicidal, and thus, you know, the Shire.
Well, they're not always stoned. The hobbits.
The pipeweed was very popular amongst the hobbits and the wizards of Middle-earth.
Would that give you enough depression?
But maybe that was just self-medicating. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's what the people of Swindon should do.
I think there was a lot of that going on, to be honest with you.
A lot of self-medicating. Did it affect the gig?
There's a bit when I do a joke. It goes, I thought I saw a superhero when I was at Boyle in Glasgow, but it was actually a depressed clown throwing himself off a tower block. And they started to laugh normally, and then they went,
Oh.
Because they'd all walked past a guy who was trying to jump off a building about 40 minutes before the show started.
And I assume this gentleman was saved and he didn't jump off.
I wouldn't say saved, but
Right,
he
he
was
didn't
stopped.
jump off. He was stopped. Right, okay.
We went back to Swindon 2 nights later, and I made the bold gambit of starting my opening set by going, "Did you hear about that guy who tried to kill himself here 2 nights ago?" And they were all like, "Yeah."
it's probably one of the jollier things that's happened in the town, that someone didn't kill themselves.
I have never been to Swindon. You're not selling it to me. No.
Well, I'm from Swinton.
Well, yes. Well, we both kind of border that, don't we? But it's not Swindon.
So I was kind of curious, like,
And how does it compare to our homeland?
Swinton and
Our little shire?
East End. It's not got a Spice Boys down there, unfortunately. One of the best
Chicken
takeaways.
pakoras. One of the
Chicken
best
pakoras.
things. It's amazing.
Unreal.
It's dynamite.
Where's your favourite pakoras from, Frankie?
How's this gone from, like, the Hobbits to where's your favourite?
Oh, aye.
There was, like, it's not the best pakora in the world, but I used to warm up at the stand, and then I'd go and sit under my thinking tree in Botanic Gardens with some pakora on the way home, because I'd have to start really early or the audience would be hammered. So I'd start, I guess, 4:30 or something like that sometimes. So by 5:30, 5:45, I'd be under my tree in the Botanics with some pakora. And it's just from that place, just across from the Botanics. What's it called? 7 something.
Oh, yeah, next to... Yeah. I know exactly what that is. Yeah.
What I've got squirrels under that tree
You've got squirrels.
I've known these squirrels for a long time. I think I've known their parents at this stage.
Generations a little.
But one time, this squirrel came up and like nicked some of the pakora batter, like a big bit of it, and ate it, and then just ran off to a puddle and drank for and then the next time I saw it just looked absolutely fucked, like a crack squirrel, man. It was just jonesing for the stuff.
Definitely the same squirrel.
Well, yeah, I think it was definitely the same squirrel, but I think we're not thinking enough about the amount of shit that's in our food.
The spices.
I'd like to stop eating pakora, but it hasn't had any impact whatsoever.
No. I find it really disappointing when you are down in England working and you can't really get pakora.
They have veggie pakora sometimes, which I believe is like a legit thing of Indian cuisine, whereas I think chicken pakora is a bit of a invention.
It's really just spicy batter and chicken. It's just that Scottish people went, oh, well, chicken's quite healthy. How do we make it unhealthy? What we'll do is we'll get the batter that we use in the chip shop and put a bit of food colouring in and some spices.
Kind of fluorescent goose on, isn't it?
Yeah, a fluorescent goose on.
Killer squirrel.
I love the squirrels in the botanics. I've quite often. There's that bit where a tree fell on some railings and there's a bit cornered off and it's made this certain area of the botanics that heads up to the Arboretum. It's quite dingy and it's a bit like, do you know, if an area, a lay-by became known for dogging, everybody would kind of avoid it. There's a little bit of Botanic Gardens that's a bit like you would only go there if you want to feed some squirrels. Do you know what I mean? Nobody else is there. Nobody's walking the dog there. Nobody's picnicking there. It's just squirrel heads like me.
Squirrel heads.
I've
I've got loads of squirrels where I stay.
yes,
Loads of them.
you're right next to a park as well.
Right next to the park, and there's loads of trees in our cul-de-sac, so they're always there. And my partner walks this little lass Apso who has a squint and an underbite, and she sees the squirrels and she's like, what's going on? And she tries to run after squirrels, then they climb the tree, and then she's like, I'm exhausted. I love it.
Do you know what their system is for finding nuts that they've buried?
Yeah.
No system. They've got no clue and they'll just loads them.
If you had to come back as an animal, what would you come back as?
Pig. I mean, I'm pretty much there already.
Yeah, I'm living a pig-esque lifestyle. A truffles pig. That'd be a nice life, wouldn't it? Just because what is truffles? It's like mushrooms that are under the ground that the pigs find.
Luxury, yeah.
Luxury pig.
Luxury
mushrooms.
piggy mushrooms.
So sounds like an alright life.
I was in Australia and we went to a...
Grinder handle.
Stuck stepmom handle.
Oh no. I was in Margaret River in Western Australia and we went to a petting zoo, not a petting zoo, but like a working farm, and you could go and see stuff, and we were way in the middle of nowhere. So we went through it and they went, oh, you can go over, there's a little piglet. And we were like, all right, okay. And I'm like, that's not the piglet, that is a gigantorous pig, no way. And then the hog came out and we realised the gigantorous pig was the piglet and it was massive.
Yeah.
And then the hog came out and I was like, oh, that's danger. They're quite angry, the pigs.
I was saying to my partner the other day, I'd love if we could just sit and watch Netflix or something and have like a pig run up along the back of the couch and all over I guess that's just a dog that we want. But a pig would be cool. But then you were saying that you can't actually get teacup piglets. It's just
Those are piglets.
Those are
They
piglets.
grow into pigs.
Yeah.
And that whole idea that there are tiny pigs that aren't, and there aren't tiny elephants either. It's just a piglet.
They just sell you under the guise and then you come down the stairs one day and there's just a massive pig in your living room. That's not great.
Would you think about people who look after snakes?
No for me.
Get a personality. Do you know what I mean?
Brilliant.
These people that are like, oh, I've got a snake, I've got a fucking rat, it lives in my shoulder. Fucking, read a book.
That was a film.
Fucking
That was a
trauma.
film.
Have some
This person
trauma.
had the rat living in their hair and it was controlling them.
Oh no, when I was at uni, man, like, that was a type of person.
Oh, yeah.
You know, in Brighton.
Oh,
Like a pet rat or something that fucking would live on their shoulder.
A rat mancer.
I don't understand where the joy is in that. Like, see, dogs give you joy. You know, dogs are your pal, and they'll come up and when things are a bit shit, and you come in. See, when I'm halfway through that fringe, and I come in and I see my wee dog, and I'm like, oh, everything's all
You
right.
come home and it's a fucking rat. Knees up on your fucking face.
You know what I
You're
mean?
stuck in the washing machine and this fucking rat.
Running up your asshole.
Can I go back to... I think it's off the subject. If the hobbits are depressed, what about just looking at it another way? Like, the hobbits are depressed.
And therefore Sauron is an eye, right? That's like self-knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they want to destroy. Because Sauron's kind of like the psychotherapist or something. He's going, why do
you want to kill yourself, Bilbo?
why do you live like this? You know, and then they go to, symbolically, Freudian, the volcano.
The crack in the earth.
Yeah. They go to account the anus of Middle Earth.
To drop a ring, putting an arse in an arse.
Yeah.
That's fucked. I don't like the idea of coming home and a snake is like, because you know, you come home and your dog's licking your face, that's lovely. But maybe if you're depressed and you come home, what is a snake but a kind of sentient noose? You know what I mean? That's just like, just wraps itself around your neck and you're like,
How do you
right.
pronounce noose? Noose?
Hello, would you like to buy a noose? Camp suicide salesman.
Imagine you got a snake that just could sense you were depressed and start knotting itself into a noose.
Still just take you away from this pain.
They say that's what they do. Snakes sometimes lie next to you in bed, and you're like, oh, that's nice. It's kind of like a partner, but then it turns out what they're actually doing is measuring you to see if they could swallow you whole.
Yeah, they lie alongside you.
Mm.
It's straight for them to go, yeah, get this one.
Me and you would have no chance.
Ah, fucking worm could eat me.
Fucking lizard. A lizard could do it.
Worms will eat you.
Well, yeah, eventually, yeah, they'll eat us all if we're lucky.
I'd like that to be, you know, if they have open caskets or whatnot, why not have just like clear graves?
What?
So that you can just see
Just a
one's been devoured by insects.
Maggots.
Turn into nature.
Just a big perspex box.
Let's go and see Grandad. Well, you'd be more likely to go, actually, I think.
If you could see a skeleton and flesh decomposing.
No.
In their old clothes.
Their clothes just getting bigger and bigger as they decompose and just become skeletal.
How would you want to get it disposed of, Susie?
Be happy just some ashes getting spread
Where?
somewhere. Just somewhere, just like somewhere. I don't know where actually. Maybe like by the seaside. Maybe Anstruther. Anstruther, aye.
Why there?
I'd
Is it
go
fish and
to-
chips?
Yeah, well, obviously. No, that's where I used to go with my gran, and we scattered some of her ashes there, so aye. I think...
Your ashes tying it with her ashes.
Aye, well, my little green ring that I have in my middle finger in my right hand is some of her ashes.
Wow.
So, because we were really close and it was really hard for me, and that's a wee bit of comfort.
That's beautiful.
I know it's not really in theme with the podcast, but it's true.
What do you want to have done with your bloody Frankie?
Stuck halfway into a washing machine.
Oh, jeez.
Being used.
Yeah. Just some pleasure to stepchildren and stepchildren across the country.
Would you give your body to medical science?
That just...
It's not, they're not fucking it.
It's not like they're not doing loads
They're
of
sticking a fucking paper hat on you and doing all kinds of fucking weird shit.
Yeah. Whenever I see medical students at a ball or something, I'm like, you seem like the type of rich, weird children that are definitely losing some of your first times to a dead person. Horrible people.
Medical students.
See once you're a junior doctor, see once you're a doctor, respect. See when you're not quite there yet, you're a freak.
You have to be deadened. If you're going to be a GP or you tell people they're dying or whatever, you need that.
The amount of oohs and wounds you're going to see in your professional career, you need to callous your heart and soul towards the most.
That's why they give you this corpse to fuck while you're a student, so that you can just, learn to detach yourself from humanity.
I don't think students are fucking dead bodies, guys. I'm just going to put it out there.
At all?
Well, no, come on. This is a generation that are riddled with anxiety. They are not going to be sleeping with a dead body.
That's the most perfect partner, really, because they're never going to, well, it's not perfect, but it's a good aspect of a bad thing would be they're never going to cheat on you, they're never going to abuse you in any way.
See, before I die, I'm getting a load of work done. Like, just before I die, I'm getting a load of cosmetic surgery and stuff. I look like fucking John Collins.
Amazing.
And just tempt them.
Tempt
It
who?
would be good for them.
Oh, for the yeah. Shout out to the NHS.
And they're like, you know what way that conversation's going? So the last time I was at my GP, I had sore balls, really sore balls, and she's a lovely old lady.
Yeah.
In her mid-60s maybe. And I'm like, oh man, we both know how this is going. I'm going to have to get my balls out of here. And I've showered and everything, but like the look in her face, my delivery, the whole thing, it's so abject.
Non-groomed balls.
Yeah, well, I didn't even know people groomed their balls
Until
back
recently.
in those days.
Yeah.
It was pre-COVID, last time to the doctor.
You're just there with your big fluffy balls.
My best boxers. And I hope she had a dead body at some point to love her, to get her into the state of mind where that could be her job.
Yeah.
Well, she has to look at your ungroomed nutsacks and feel them as well.
I think if I'd known then it was socially acceptable, I would have imagined that if I had got a heavily groomed pair of balls, she would have been horrified. Thought I was getting off on it or something. Thought I was a fucking porn star. Whereas now I realise she's looking at them all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The things you must see as a GP. I think I was thinking this during the mask phase of COVID and stuff, when everybody was masked up and stuff. I was at a GP and I was in the waiting room and I was like, this is actually like, we should always be wearing masks in like a doctor's office, not for like viral reasons, not for like breathing and stuff, but I just think there should be an element of the masquerade, the same way that you would go to a kind of Venetian sex party in the 1700s. You would wear a wee mask and it's the kind of, we don't know who each other are. Doctor's office should be a wee bit like that as well.
I don't know if they're really the doctor.
Maybe the cleaner. You just get your nuts out in front of a cleaner.
Some people could do that though, you know what I mean? A wee Hoover.
I mean, that's it, a cleaner dressed as Spider-Man.
I just think, there's this woman who came in and she was like, that's my sample for the doctor. And it's like, I shouldn't see this woman's face and last name being shouted out by a receptionist. You know?
Yeah.
Like, there should be a bit of fucking masquerade.
It's when you're sat in the doctor's surgery and the receptionist answers the phone and she starts to recite the address and all the details back of the person who's on the phone, and everyone can hear it, and then it'll be like, so you can't make that appointment because you're going on holiday from the 22nd to the 30th, and you're like, empty house, anybody, empty house. But you can't go straight through to a doctor. Mm-hmm. They need to ask you what's wrong while they're just spilling their guts to all and sundry in the reception area, just telling us all that you've got an empty house for a week.
Yeah, the whole
That's a
system.
proper working class thing. Not wanting people to know if your house is fucking empty. My parents, man, they wouldn't. So my parents were from Donegal, and they would never say if they were going on a holiday. And still to this day, if I go to them, "Are you going over to Ireland this year?" and they would go, we don't know yet. And it's because they don't want words getting out. Someone breaking into their house, which contains like a fucking DVD player from Tesco, like about 5 DVDs, one of which is Chocolat.
The Johnny Depp film.
The Johnny Depp film, which they love.
Yeah.
My mum loves, what's that dance movie with Channing Tatum?
Magic Mike.
No, the before. Yeah.
Sorry. The one before
Is
that.
it called Step Up?
Oh yeah.
But like, she gave my daughter the Step Up films, but sure, you can't have one. I'm keeping one. But the idea that someone's going to break into a bungalow and get approximately £13 worth of goods, stick it on Facebook Marketplace. They won't even tell their own children when they're going on holiday. Or any of the people in Ireland, so they just appear.
Yeah.
Just in case, the Irish people let the Glasgow people know.
In case word gets right.
The international network of burglars that exist to deliver news to other people of when places are going to be vacant and burglarable.
I remember when my gran used to go to like Blackpool and stuff, where we pensioners group, and she used to buy those, those sockets with a clock timer. So you plug it in, it gives you a socket. So you plug your lamp into the socket and you put the little pegs down so that it comes on at like, right, I'll put that on, it starts to get dark at 7 and I'll keep it on till 10 and then I'll put it back on in the morning so it looks like I'm there, and all these automated lights would go on and off.
If you think, I don't have one of those.
No.
As a gift from my parents. Yeah.
Amazing. That's for when you're on
burgled. I'd rather have the house burned down.
house burnt down
Fire hazard.
and a massive electricity bill for energy that you're not using.
Yeah, I've got like 2 of them.
Do you use them?
Not anymore, but I have used them. You know,
For what
Guessing.
purpose? To
Keep them guessing.
guessing. Keep on their toes.
I would maybe draw a curtain. This is as far as I would go.
You'd send someone in to draw the curtain. Can you trust?
What?
Who's drawing the curtain if you're not there?
Oh, yeah. Shit. I think you'll find actually. I guess it's just not something I think about. You're an electrician?
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you would have to do in your job, is to work out like fire hazards and stuff?
Yes.
What is the most common burning down a house type stuff that goes about?
It could be anything. It could be like just too much. Like people just keep adding more sockets and adding more things, and then eventually this old rickety fuse box just goes no more. And it depends if they've got like old fuses that were rewirable, so they were like little blocks with pins and you put fuse wire in them, as opposed to the kind of breakers that most people have now. It's wild. I mean, I remember looking at things, somebody's like, yeah, so how you know there's an electrical fire about to start is that you smell burning plastic and it smells really fishy. And I would open up the fuse box, and I remember there was one fuse that instead of having fuse wire, it just had the silver paper from a chewing gum packet.
Somebody stuck a fucking Kit Kat in there.
Aye. There was one day I had to go out to a house because this guy was friends with my boss, and he had decided on a Sunday to go to B&Q, buy some lights, and put up lights in his back garden, but not bother to bury the cable. So his Alsatian chewed through the cable. And
Dog exploded.
Dog died, aye.
Fuck's sake.
Dog died. And I was like, mate, what are you doing? He's like, well, I mean, it's just a bit of DIY. And I'm like, I don't think electricity's DIY. So put up a shelf's DIY. Yeah. But I just weird stuff that people will do. And also people just think that sockets just appear. Like they go, can I just have a socket there? And you're like, yeah, I need to get the cable, but what do you mean? You're like, what do you think happens? I just put a socket in the wall and it just magically works. Like, people are mental. And they're mental when it comes to things like electricity and plumbing and gas, and they'll try and do it themselves. And you're like...
Were you talking one time about why there's so much stuff burned down in Glasgow? Was obviously we all think crime.
Yeah, it's not.
In a listed building, and people are like,
It's how I student housing.
Student flats. Yeah, let's burn it down.
But it's not. So there used to be... Glasgow had more fires than anywhere else in the UK at one point, Because what used to happen is if a building went on fire, instead of what you would do now is strip the whole building out of all the electrics and re-establish them once the building's kind of secured and wind and watertight again and all that, they would say, well, if that bit's not been affected, that's all right, just do the bits that are affected. So say you had like a 3-storey building and the first floor was the bit that was affected, but second and third they'd quarantine and it was all right. It would be like, you don't need to rewire second and third. Just do the first floor and the ground floor. And that was an actual thing. And Glasgow was notorious for fires because the council also owned so many of the buildings back when this was a thing that it was just, right, that's what we do. And you go, well, everything's still interconnected. They might have separate supplies, but they all come from the same place. So you've absolutely burst the integrity of it. But that's how they used to have more fires than anywhere else in the UK. Because the council's like, you'll be fine. Just wipe the burn marks off that cable and put it back in.
Imagine years to come, people find out that it was actually gangsters burning it down and we were being paid by them.
But there was loads of really bad fires in Glasgow though as well. Like really, like bakeries and stuff like that and really...
My kid's school burnt down. He went to the Steiner, used to be up by York Hill.
The Steiner?
I don't want to stereotype here, but they were a bunch of useless fucking hippies. And the fire brigade is when you really need to rewire that top floor. And they were like, what'll happen if we don't? And they found out.
You fuck around and you find out.
Yeah. They left us a message on the phone that was like, could you come to pick Thor up because the school is burning down? And I was like, what? It can't be. That must be an exaggeration. And I arrived there and it was snowing and all the kids are standing outside hugging each other for warmth.
Well, there's a burning building.
Yeah, but at the time it was just like smoke and whatever.
Embers.
And like, I went home and we went for a bit of dinner or whatever, and Thor was like, I'm a bit sad about my school. You know, he's like 5 at 10. And I was like, it'll be fine. There was fire engines all round it, wasn't there? He was like, there was a bit of smoke. And I was like, yeah, but, you know, it'll be fine. So we get home and we get the laptop up and I just put in, you know, the Steiner scoot and it's just like... I was like, anyway, son, we'll find out about that tomorrow.
My nursery burned down. I was quite sad about that.
What was your nursery?
I couldn't tell you. Somewhere in the East End.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Cran Hill, I think.
Oh,
But
Ah,
burned down.
to be expected.
Yeah.
To be expected. Where that nursery's situated, yeah.
Aye. Is there any buildings you would love to see burned down in Glasgow? Buchanan Galleries, I think they could start that again.
I think it now the Buchanan Gallery steps, just because it's one of the few decent fucking bits.
Are they getting rid of it?
Yeah, I'm going to get rid of it.
Probably because too many people protest there. That's why they're getting rid of it.
There's a lot of protest there. I love the guys who scream about Jesus there. They're great.
No music, those guys.
No music.
Have you seen that?
No.
So there's a whole bunch, there's a subsection of the people who scream about Jesus who tend to congregate outside Victoria's Secret for some reason. But there's one main guy and another guy who's like started off being an African kind of like Church of Jesus type dude who's now gone over to the no music guy. but the no music guy stands on a crate that says no music, wears a jacket off and it says no music, no singing. He's like a proper don't enjoy yourself kind of fire and brimstone. You're all going,
We free.
surrounded, obviously, by
Nuts.
fucking buskers.
Wow. I came out of John Lewis one day and they were all there, all the kind of Lord Botherers were there.
Bus station.
Right next to the bus station, right? And as I crossed the road, I was going up into the car park and there must have been about 6 or 8 of them and they had megaphones and they were like, homosexuality is a sin and everything was a sin, and they had some placards and they had some flyers and they were flyering everybody. And as I was crossing the road, 2 of them just turned round and looked at me and I looked at them and I thought, oh, I'm right in the mood for this. And they just put their heads down and walked away. And I thought, even the Lord can't save me, man. They're like, she is so far gone.
It's just when you look at the really heavy weights in the gym.
No, it's like, it's never going to happen.
Another time. We'll build up to that.
She's a project. We can't. A leaflet's not going to change her life.
I'm always flabbergasted by how shite. Do you know the ones that stand and they've got all the magazines or the brochures and they've got the wee stand and they just kind of sit there? And every town I go to, they're never like big issue. Like the big issue people are like, hey, big issue, big issue. People just kind of sit there and they're like, well, we've got brochures. If you're interested, come and talk. And they're always just kind of like talking to each other. And you're like, yous haven't tried very hard.
No.
Some of the things they say, like when you consider like what you get in edits, I mean, where people are like, we don't think you should use the word imprecise. You know, some people might be a bit, you know, like,
Some people have shaky hands.
the start of COVID, the start of lockdown, I was walking down Buchanan Street and there was like a young guy with a beard. You see him sometimes, a brown beard, stands at the top of Buchanan Street. And he was like, people walking down this street today will be dead tonight and in hell. And you're like, I mean,
Can't really be saying that.
Yeah.
No, it's not great.
with an amp. When did they get amps?
When did they start to believe in electricity?
Why did they always have the cheapest amp possible? They always have, like, if you really believed in God, you would spring for the PV 250. Do you know what I mean? You would never practice amp. You can't, like, what are you practicing for? Is this not your main event? Is this the top of your career? I just think you really invest in your AV.
That was you spoke to God, you prayed at night, and he was like giving you really specific amps.
I think that's what we need from God. So listen,
So technical data.
Get your Marshall.
Bread of Heaven sounded terrible in that amp. Can you improve it for next week?
Can you get your stepmother to sing it from within a...
Oh no!
The acoustics in the back of a Bosch.
The danger the stepmother's in then if you just hit the 40-degree cycle.
Yeah.
Pre-wash.
A quick wash, 30 minutes, 60 minutes. Yeah, it's something I worry about. I feel like there's no music guys. I think they've been radicalised. I think they started off quite normal Christians, but being next to those buskers probably drove them mental. You can only hear Shape of You acoustically so many times.
I'm pretty much no music by the end of Buchanan Street.
Yeah.
By the time you get down to St Enoch's, had it.
You're over it.
Yeah.
Quite prepared to sell yourself to the Christians.
Yeah, I don't think I'd raise much.
No.
I suspect those people just aren't very musical.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
But why not just get a pair of noise cancelling headphones and then the whole world becomes no music? Do you know what I mean?
The Lord Botherers are sinister though.
Yeah.
They're sinister.
They try to get out of it.
I think they just hate themselves. I think they're probably sociopaths, borderline serial killers.
People who believe in God.
No, just the people that kind of bother the Lord and everybody else on the street.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you just go to church and do your thing, that's up to you and that's your thing. But I think if you're out trying to convert people, and it's always through hate, it's always through division, they're never like, Jesus says love everyone. They're like, Jesus says love everyone except, well, here's a list.
Homosexuals are bound to hell. They will burn alive for the sin. And you're like, all right.
You're like, you're gay, aren't you? You're gay. You're gay and you hate yourself. Do you know what I mean?
It's hard to look at. It's harder to look at yourself than it is at other people, and they're just people turning it all outward. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, you need to engage with the eye of Sauron.
Yeah.
A bit of self-knowledge. Carry your ring up that hill.
Yes.
Plunge it into the fires of Mount Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so.
I think they need to plunge their ring into something and release themselves. That's what we need to do.
Just resolve.
But then, what if they keep preaching? I know I said it was God, but actually, you should all be gay.
But you never really, it's that thing of you never have to advertise certain things. You never have to advertise drugs or coffee and stuff because it kind of sells itself. I feel like maybe that's true of gayness as well. You never see anybody going,
I don't want to
join the congregation of gay,
Oh, just in you come. It's magic. What a laugh. Come in. Come on in. Honestly, it's much easier now than what it was then. So in you come. Man, I know your mum might be a bit upset, but that's all right. Come on. She probably won't. She'll be happy she's got a gay son. Let's go.
Someday watch Chocolat with.
So what's Chocolat with?
What does your mum and dad like chocolate for?
They have few passions.
Channing Tatum's dancing, Johnny Depp's chocolatier, and self-setting lamps. Donegal sounds like a wild place. I'm going to go. We're going to go to Ireland later on this year, and I'm absolutely buzzing for it.
I think the reason they don't tell you anything is because they're from Donegal. Because nobody in Donegal will tell you anything.
No, they won't. They're a very guarded community.
A very guarded border community in essentially the north of the south and borders with the British state. And
I tried to buy a house in Donegal. So there's a sign up in the garden. Phones the guy. I see your house is for sale in the garden. No, who told you that? I'm just trying to give you hundreds of thousands of pounds. Even then, also he denied being the person. He was like that. So and so, whatever. Pat Gallagher. And he's like, no, but I can get a message to him.
That's amazing.
Does that
part of the irony over there? They've always got a bit of a twinkle, and they're always slightly taking the piss, and that's from the British. Do you know what I mean? That's from being oppressed. That's kind of like, I need to show everybody else that I'm not down with this prick, but at the same time, I've got to talk to the fucker.
Yeah. So, this guy's got a gun, but they're all my pals, so...
Hence, there's a constant air of mischief. Even very old people are incredibly mischievous.
Donegal should use that as a slogan. Come to Donegal, a constant air of mischief. Like, very much underselling its role in the Troubles, but I like it. I like it.
Bit of mischief down by the border there.
Oh, sure, man. Oh, lads, when you come, lads.
So why is Donegal, obviously, this is a big question for someone to ask who's not very knowledgeable about the Troubles and about Irish republicanism, as the pair of yous probably, but...
Wait a minute.
What?
That was quite a ropey end to that sentence. I'm not as au fait with Irish republicanism, unlike you two. It's basically
Irish people, basically. Irish Catholics. I know you're stuck. I've been researching your bloodlines and anything, but you're both
related to each other, right?
Chapel dwellers or whatever, right? So, not that you've ever been in the IRA or anything, but why is Donegal? Because Donegal's more northern than the Northern Ireland. So why was it not included in that?
Because at the time they were drawing up the treaty after the War of Independence, if they'd included Donegal as part of Northern Ireland, it would have created a majority of Catholics within the province. So they would have originally wanted Donegal and Monaghan to be part of an Ulster kind of Northern Ireland. And so people like Ian Paisley, they felt that Donegal was part of Northern Ireland. They would have wanted it,
Like, that's why it was such a big thing for Sinn Féin to be seen, even though it's a kind of joint thing between Sinn Féin and the DUP. But that's why it was so kind of symbolic that Sinn Féin won the election, as it were, because the whole state had been set up so that would never happen.
Right, okay.
It was set up so there was always a
bit of gerrymandering.
Well, it's not for me to say. But they had basically set it up like that so that there would always be a kind of core of Protestants.
Yeah.
And they would always kind of be in power or rule, and they would always aid the British because they were part of that and that kind of thing. So so that's how they didn't want the Donegal, but people in Donegal tell you nothing.
Oh,
Like nothing. Like what time's it? No. It's I think it's fair to say or surmise that it was pretty heavily involved in the Troubles, but not directly.
More like it's a place people would run away to.
Yeah.
Or hide out.
Safe houses and such like
Stuff and get it later.
that type of place. So nobody ever says anything about anything.
Yeah. You were saying it's quite like the landscape's pretty barren,
Bleak.
Yeah.
Is that purely geography, or is that
It was partly sheep farming as well.
right?
Because that'd be one of the few things that land would be good for. It's not very good land. It's very stony.
I mean, it's a little place on a little island in the middle of the North Atlantic.
Yeah.
It's not known for being exotic.
With a population of like about 150,000 less than that. So like about half of the size of Leicester,
Yeah.
the whole county. So it's pretty sparse.
Also, there are 3 buses a week which leave from Glasgow that go to Donegal.
We used to go on a bus.
What?
Just go on a bus. So you get a bus from what used to be outside the Tintle Fuzz Hotel
Yes.
in the south side.
Tinto Fuzz?
It was a big hotel on the south side, just like kind of up from, it was on kind of Kilmarnock Road.
Yeah. And you would get this bus and it would take you over to Donegal, but it'd take you onto the ferry. But like because everybody's like Irish, right? So like everybody's mum always packed like mad amounts of sandwiches and fairy cakes, like these big giant bin bags of fairy cakes and stuff like that. And like by the time you hit Ireland, man, you will just
Diabetic.
It's all these kids getting travel sick, you know what I mean? Because you're one big journey of the year, and you're just people, wee kids puking in the aisles, and
On a bus, on a boat, eating a baker's worth of fucking...
then you get another coach, or the same coach, to Letterkenny. That's where the big coach would stop, and you'd have a while in Letterkenny, you'd have a couple of hours, and we'd all go and buy a pocket knife. That was what you had on your holiday in those days, and that was a big part of the holiday, was get your knife, stuff on it. You could get an Irish one. All kinds of jolly decals,
Like what?
camouflage, whatever. Then you'd get on the wee bus, but sometimes he would, so that's just like a van. and like he would have to go and drop everybody off at their individual house in the middle of nowhere, so you all lived in a different bit of nowhere. So you could be in that van for hours, man, with some mad family.
Amazing.
Also going to just stay on a farm.
Amazing. I can't wait.
to go to Ireland.
I love Ireland. I think it's a great country.
Yeah.
It's a great, the Guinness is so fine.
Well, as I've been saying, we should do the Mary from Dunlow Festival.
Listen,
Kind of special.
I am in on the Mary of Dunlow Festival. It is this man that we have to convince.
I'm not stopping the Mary of Dunlow.
Imagine the podcast starts like this, right? I didn't realise that they do a warning at the start of the podcast begging people not to listen.
Yeah.
My daughter told me, she said, you know, they do this thing and they go, don't listen to this. It's not really suitable for anyone. It's really horrible. And then it's just you talking about Barbara Streisand. But imagine the podcast starts with, hello, welcome to Here Comes the Guillotine. I'm Christopher McArthur-Boyd. I'm Frankie Boyle. I'm Susan McKibb. I'm Daniel O'Donnell. And we just kind of,
I would love that.
we just kind of swing into it and we don't mention it.
No, I never really thought about whether a sheep or a goat could survive in the desert, you know, but it's quite interesting.
I would genuinely love Daniel O'Donnell.
Oh, I had the stepmother.
Why is she stuck?
Oh, God.
Could we grease her up and get her out of there?
She's already greased up.
When is that a festival?
July, something. That's like,
I think we should do
I
it.
think we should do it. There's inexplicably 3 episodes are set in rural Donegal.
Right, so I was under the impression that this was a Little Miss Sunshine style children's beauty contest, but it's actually adult women.
Oh yeah, you were interested when you thought.
No, I wasn't. I was disinterested.
You were.
I was disinterested in the Irish child beauty contest.
No, it's adult women.
Okay.
And Irish centres from around the world will send their Chicago Mary. None of them are really called Mary.
Oh.
They're Chicago Mary, they're Donegal Mary, they're Glasgow Mary, they're New York Mary.
Like the miscongeniality
Yes.
of Marys.
One of us could be the Glasgow Mary.
Could be you.
I'm happy to be entered into the competition.
27th of July to the 5th of August.
Right. Well, I mean, I can be there for the start of it. I'm all in.
The Fringe. Sorry, I need to get back for the Mary
get back.
Festival. Doing a run at the biggest arts festival in the world. My show.
I can do 2 shows at Mary and then be over. Just fly straight into Edinburgh, straight to the Fringe. Ready. If you're an organiser of the Mary of Dunglow Festival, get in contact with us.
Yep.
And we'll talk about coming over.
Sponsors for nothing. For now.
Well, yeah.
Use some dulse. Dulse is a popular snack there that is essentially seaweed.
Seaweed?
Yeah.
They do that in Wales, don't they? They have lava bread. And it's like bread with bits of seaweed in it. It's like a wee cake or something.
Right, we've not bothered with the cake. We should just eat hand processed seaweed.
How do they make that?
They just dry it and eat it. Salty.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
A savoury snack.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be up for that. I'm quite scared of seaweed.
What?
Not even eating it, just if I see it, I don't like it being near my feet in case it grabs me or something. Even though, obviously, I know seaweed isn't a grabbable thing.
You scared of sharks?
Not as much as I'm scared of seaweed. I would
That's
say.
irrational.
Yeah, that's irrational for sure.
That's wild.
Are you afraid of sharks?
Yeah, very. Anytime I'm in the sea, I'm just constantly looking for sharks.
Off the coast of Donegal.
They can go anywhere.
Yeah.
They can't go anywhere.
They like warm water, but they can be anywhere. And they filmed a great white from an oil rig in Aberdeen.
A great white.
They can go anywhere.
It's
Imagine you would
odorless.
just go run into the sea off Aberdeen for a laugh with your pals, or Greg Hempel or someone, and a great white.
Imagine Greg Hempel's in this ocean.
Greg Hempel is doing a TV show about wild swimming.
Uh-huh. Oh, he is, yeah, with his wife.
Yeah.
Who's from Balmoral.
But imagine they were both consumed by a great white,
Off the coast of Aberdeen.
and BBC Scotland would feel compelled to air the footage.
Like Werner Herzog with that Grizzly Man documentary where he listens to the footage of and watches the footage. Have you seen that?
No.
Werner Herzog did this documentary called Grizzly Man, and he's like, I have found footage of your husband being ate by a bear.
Is it audio recorded? It?
Yeah, and he's like, I will not show it in the film, but I will show you me listening to it. And then he puts headphones on and listens to it silently. This woman's husband being eaten, and he's just like, no,
If you should destroy this
should be destroyed.
That is grim.
It's such a great way of showing you how nightmarish it is, though.
That's grim.
for a film about a guy being eaten by a bear, it's really funny. This guy's like a real idiot. He's like, thinks he can hang out with bears, with really, really dangerous, hungry bears. And he's just like sort of slapping them on the nose and stuff. This is chocolate. And he's like, he's really very closeted, I'd say. And there's a bit where there's like a bee in a flower and he starts to cry. He's like, the bee's died. Oh my God. So it's like the horror of nature and stuff like that. And then it just gets up and flies off and goes, oh.
And then a bear eats him. So do you think maybe it'd be quite unusual for BBC Scotland to go from like a stone skimming documentary to whatever else they show, and then here's Greg Hemphill, beloved Canadian Scottish comedian and director, being eaten alive by a great white shark?
But I think he needs to leave that going, if I get eaten by a white shark, this is my will. I want this made into a final episode, perhaps for Hug My Knee or something like that.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Totally up for that. He wouldn't want that. No, what's showing.
Well, right, ask him.
Yeah.
So would you ever go wild swimming, or are you too scared of sharks?
Oh, I'm more scared of shit.
Shit.
Isn't it weird that the wild swimming fad has emerged just as they start pumping shit into the rivers? And maybe these wild swimmers are coprophiliacs.
Yeah. Shit eaters.
And now they've just found this socially acceptable, and Greg just gets hosed off before he does. You know, there's a whole clean-up section they miss out. And he's like, oh yeah, that was great.
Hose me down.
Yeah. It's the wild swimmers are all getting E. coli because of all the shit in the water. They were there was a politician talking about it, about whatever his constituency was, but how much shit there is in the water, and then animals are picking it up because like dogs will go through a river and whatever like that, and they're coming back and they're getting all these diseases.
And they like your face. All of a sudden you've got
They like their face under balls.
Yeah.
The dog runs in. You've misjudged the radius of the washing machine.
Fires you into the tub.
I don't like to think about that.
Aye, but we've actually polluted our own water. Say we, as in the UK, it's really...
Scotland's better than
Scotland's much better, yeah, because we're not pumping shit into it, but in
literal gallons.
Quite literally loads of human shit getting pumped into the sea for a laugh.
How is it? I was in like and what's the name of that big park in London, Hyde Park?
Yeah.
And there's like a wild swimming bit in there, and I'm like, "Are you gonna swim?" I wouldn't even drink London water.
No, I know.
Never mind fucking plunge, submerge beneath the surface. The fucking diarrhea. Remember when Darius Dinesh drank London water and it put him in a coma?
What?
Darius Dinesh, R.I.P. He died for other reasons more recently. But about 15 years ago, he drank Thames water. He was doing this documentary about how Thames water can be treated and it makes it drinkable, but they had an example of the untreated water and the treated water. He accidentally drank the untreated water and he was blind for a day or something. Colourblind.
Wow. That's beautiful. That's a thing of beauty.
What a crazy guy, R.I.P.
But also, that's horrendous. Oh.
Yeah. And it's like, you can only swim in the Thames for between March and fucking September. You can't do the winter. And I'm like, I can't imagine it's great at any point in the year to be fucking swimming in diarrhea. Also, English shit. Yeah. Is it probably qualitatively different? Probably. Full of cocaine and...
Well, there was that programme, wasn't there? There was that, I think it was at Panorama a couple of years ago that was taking, like, they were talking about pollution in the rivers. This is before we actually started to properly pollute it. And they were taking, like, water samples from reservoir, and it was just, like, filled with cocaine. Like, just so many drugs. And it was just, like, basically everybody's on cocaine.
Because we were talking about Richard Pryor's coke cum. How Richard Pryor was doing so much coke that his cum had numbing qualities. And you got to wonder, is that what fish are going through right now? If they're swimming about in dolphins and seals, if there's that much coke and shit in the water.
They're just completely numb. They're just like fucking Tom York from Radio.
Some Linkin Park shit, you know? It's the life of a Scottish dolphin. It's very similar to being in a rap metal band.
Maybe the Boyle song will start to become more like Radiohead as they become utterly numb. That's why they're beaching themselves.
They've just heard the
like, that's with the buskers. They're hearing that and they're like,
no music.
No more OK Computer. I'm down.
Straight into fucking Brighton Pier.
Yeah, it's true.
Wow. How long have we done?
An hour?
I think so.
That all felt pretty jolly if we took out a couple of
IRA stuff.
IRA.
That's it this week for Here Comes the Guillotine. We'll be back next week with more anti-authoritarianism and chummy laughter.
You can get all the episodes of Here Comes the Guillotine on Global Player right now. Search for Global Player on your App Store or go to globalplayer.com.